because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Carrarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma!
Welcome to the 25th episode of Speaking Serie B. I am Jake Giovanni, editor and admin of Cheat the Calcio USA. I am not late this time. We are both on time. We are here in time at 7 p.m. European time, here for another episode of Speaking Serie B. Some things, as always, happened in this round, and both teams, both Pisa and Spezia, dropping points as Sassuolo continue their march towards Serie A. To help me with this episode is Elia, the Italian guy, so let's bring him in. Elia, how are you?
Hey, Jake, thank you for the intro. I'm well. I was almost late, but I made it on time. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's wow, we're only at the 25th episode already. We're halfway to 50 episodes of Speaking Serie B.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was is it interesting match day? You had some, relegation battles down at the bottom, and then you had the top of the table. I know you said if this year Spezia couldn't beat Modena in Modena, then they'll never beat Modena in Modena.
And probably will never do that.
Yeah. But luckily for you guys, Pisa did drop points against 10 men Cesena, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
I actually saw the last part of the game, yes.
I wanted to ask you, so this was a result. I guess we'll go into the results in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about the game and the Modena game. Pio Esposito getting another goal, or was it Salvatore Esposito?
Francesco Pio, as usual.
And then Modena responding later in the first half. But yes, tell us how the game went. Was it a 2 points drop, given how Pisa would go on to draw later on?
It was because as Spezia made us used to by now, it was a very good performance by the Aquilotti. So as usual, we can say that we deserve the win, but you don't deserve the win unless you win. So the performance was there, just like with Palermo. We lost basically 4 points in the two most recent games because the superiority was clear to anybody who was watching the game. Yet we weren't able to to convert all the opportunities that we created. So I hope that this current situation is not going to affect the mindset of the players. Also in light of the fact that now in the Alberto Pico, Catanzaro will be next, and is a very valid opponent. So it's going to be an interesting game. You got to respect everybody and fear.
Cittadella just played against Catanzaro, and we saw firsthand, they're a very, very good team, very solid team. If you don't mind me just giving some thoughts about that game, because it happened on a Friday.
I'm going to ask you in a second. I just wanted to wrap up this intro, if you don't mind. So
go ahead.
So respect everybody and fear no one, but Catanzaro is a serious opponent. So you'll tell us in a second. As far as the game, with Palermo, I don't like to always find a guilty one, but there was a clear mistake on the second goal that we conceded to Palermo by Matteo. In his place this time there was Nicola Bertola, and he was the one that had the most responsibilities on conceding the goal to Modena. Modena that in the second half of the game played a much better game, a much better performance, and even this time we weren't able to win in Modena, looking for a win that the Aquilotti are missing for now over 30 years. So it is what it is. As you said, we are lucky that Cesena made un'impresa, quite a result in 10 players with 10 men. Having the possibility to draw with Pisa, and then Cremonese drew as well. But yeah, please tell us about Catanzaro Cittadella. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, we kind of have some similarities right now because Catanzaro, obviously, the next opponent's playing Spezia, and Modena is the next opponent playing Cittadella. So it's really both of our teams kind of played each other. The opponents kind of flip-flopped now. That makes sense. I don't know if I did that correctly, but yeah, I mean, well, going back to the Pisa game, I was actually surprised that they drew because I was watching the second half and, Cesena going down to 10 men. Pisa definitely dominated the game. They had 14 shots to only Cesena's 4. And, they conceded in the last 10 minutes of the game to a 10-man Cesena team, which, that was Pisa had already known the result of the Spezia game. They had a chance to increase their lead to 6 points. It would have been if they had held on. But, Cesena doing you guys a favor. And, yeah, I mean, you could say that these last 2 games were definitely missed opportunities for Spezia because they knew, at least last week, they knew the result of Pisa Cittadella, Pisa losing all 3 points. And then this game, they were leading. They were unable to get the job closed. But it is still 4 points. There's only 12 games remaining. Still, Spezia Pisa is coming up in the recent weeks. Actually, Pisa's got 3 very difficult games coming up. They have at home against Juve Stabia, away against Sassuolo, and then away against Spezia in the early weeks of March. So this is really going to be a really important pesantissimo weeks for games for Pisa and just in general the top of the table because
we could say
Spezia has Catanzaro next, which we all know is one tough team to break down.
But we could say that it's a pivotal moment in these next 3 games for the top playoff spots and the top positions for sure. And so
I want to say, I was just looking at Spezia's kind of run-in towards the end of the season. I want to say it's kind of a favorable. I mean, I know no game is easy in Serie B, and definitely you can make an argument that towards the end of the season, the relegation teams are actually harder to play against than the teams in the upper part of the table, just because they're fighting for their life and they'll throw everything on the field. But Spezia's last 6 games is away against Mantova, home against Cosenza, away Frosinone, home Salernitana, away against Reggiana, and then finally home against Cremonese. The only team in that kind of run of fixtures that's in the top half or even the top 8 for instance is Cremonese. So you want to say that maybe they have an easier, quote unquote, easier run-in than Pisa, where they have to play away against Brescia, home against Cremonese. They still have to play Frosinone, Bari, and then Südtirol. So you could kind of say that they're a little similar. Maybe Pisa's got a harder run-in, but I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much further into the future for this because, I think the most important is now these next 2-3 weeks where, Sassuolo has to play Pisa. Pisa has to play Spezia at the Alberto Pico, which is going to be probably the biggest game of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
It is true that, first of all, it's cool to have perspective from somebody that is not so involved emotionally as I am. So I agree with your analysis that I think we have one more game at home that we have compared to the remaining games away. So that's a little advantage. And then, yes, we played the direct competitions away already. So that's to our advantage. Pisa has to come to the Alberto Pico. Cremonese will come in the last round. So these are little advantages that with our Popolo Bianco being so enthusiastic and always so present, the Alberto Pico is already sold out, might have, Pico can help us to accumulate a few more points toward the end of the season, and we'll see. As Mr. Luca D'Angelo always says, a game at a time. If you get on the pitch with the mentality of always wanting to do your best and winning the game, you disregard what happens to the other team. So that's the mentality that brought us here when we started the championship, fighting to avoid relegation. Here we are. So now let's not put too much pressure on the guys. Of course, we all dare to dream, but it's still a long way to go. And although Pisa drew and Cremonese drew, so the points that are separating the second, the third, and the fourth remain the same. There is one round less now, so it is to the advantage of Pisa, but they still have to come to Alberto Pico.
Yeah.
How do things look like for Cittadella? That seemed like they were able to get out of the hot area, but it's still a long way to go even on that aspect. So
yeah. So how about we pull up the results
Sure.
thing, and I'll kind of explain how the game went. Yeah, so it was a Friday night kickoff. It was away against Catanzaro. We knew that Catanzaro going in, they had only lost 3 games all year, but 15 of those games were draws. So they love a draw. They are really proving themselves just one of the hardest teams to play.
Sorry, Jake, do you want me to show these, or would you like me to show the table or the stats of the game?
Yeah, let's show the table. Or the table, or the all the like the results on Google. So I think that would be good. But
so I'm gonna get the standings right now.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say this was definitely a game. Cittadella currently currently, as the trend goes, they're going to win a game and then they're going to lose. They're going to win, lose. That's kind of like the trend that's been going on these last months. So if the trend follows, they'll win against Modena at home this weekend. So about the game, I want to say the first half was probably one of the most boring halves of Cittadella's Cittadella's season. Similar to Pisa, a lot of possession from Catanzaro, as we expected. They were going to control the ball. They were going to, pass out of the back, kind of, what we've known going into it. But really, neither team had really chances. And like I said, I kind of wrote down that this was probably the most boring half of the season, just because nothing really happened. Nothing really went on. But second half kind of came to life. Cittadella had chances the first 15 minutes of the game. Pandolfi had a chance that probably should have scored, or at least, laid off to an open Orgia Okonkwo inside the box. Okonkwo had another chance. Pandolfi had, once again, another opportunity in the first 15 minutes. And you got to say, those chances came back to haunt Cittadella, because it took one mistake in the back. Emanuele Mattino went to go clear the ball, but he did not communicate with the goalkeeper, Luca Maniero, who came rushing out of his line. They both collided, and Imello scored in an open net to make it 1-0, and that was the game decider for Catanzaro. So it was really a erroraccio, as they say in Italian, in the back. That really.
So would you say that a draw would have been a more fair result given the performances of the two teams?
I think Cittadella will be hard done by, just given that it was a mistake that led to a goal that really made the difference. However, saying that, I think Catanzaro definitely probably deserved the win more, just given they had more chances. They played just better all around. Yamello is now the top scorer, I believe, in the Serie B, or at least it was for the night. And Catanzaro is just a very solid team. I think we were both wrong at the start of the season. We're saying they were really going to struggle without Viverini, but they've proved the opposite. They're in the exact same position as they were last season, in 5th place. So only 3 losses this season. I could definitely see why. They're just really difficult to play against, and especially away in Calabria. So this was definitely a loss for Cittadella. I think it's going to hurt, because it was, like I said, a mistake that led to the goal. But they had to play Spezia, Pisa, and Catanzaro in these last 3 weeks, and I said that this was definitely probably going to be a loss, just given how emotional and just draining that victory was in Pisa. They gave a lot in that, and then having to go back on the road shorter week on Friday, traveling all the way down to Calabria, which was definitely a difficult game for Cittadella, but yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Got it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. These are the top scorers for the league as of today. Loriente, Esposito, Francesco Pio, and Gemello, they are all in first position with 13 goals as of today.
Yeah, so apparently, so as we said, Pio Esposito scored for Spezia, and then Loriente scored, so that it's all tied on 13 goals.
I just want to say hi to Leonardo Pisani. He's a Spezia fan from La Spezia who lives in Texas, who writes, ciao ragazzi, non si molla, freddo glaciale in Texas, forza Aquile. Hi guys, we're not, giving up. We're always there fighting for it. It's, I don't know, extremely cold basically in Texas, but forza Aquile. So thank you, Leo, for being here with us.
I feel like it's a very cold. It's cold in the Northeast. It's cold in the Midwest. So yeah.
So if you would like, we can start going through our predictions for the round, for round 26. We ended round 25 with these standings of ours. Finally, I was leading after I don't know how long. Not that it matters because we haven't even decided who is going to win what. If somebody is going to win at the end, maybe we'll end up with a draw. And this is our average after the 25th round. If you want to, please go ahead with reading the results and our predictions from our previous episode.
Yeah, I think I did better in this round compared to my measly 2 points that I had. So Catanzaro Cittadella, I correctly predicted a Catanzaro victory. Same goes for Modena Spezia. I predicted that the 30-year drought for Spezia in Modena would continue. So a point for me there.
You were right.
Both of us get 0 points for predicting a Caradese victory. Finally, a Caradese victory that was missing in a very long time. I think it was the first of the year.
None of us gave any credit or any thought that Carrarese could turn things around, winning at home with Salernitana. So good for them.
That was a big win. That's a big win towards the bottom of the table for Carrarese. So,
and it was a scontro diretto to avoid relegation with Salernitana in the current situation. So this is a very big statement from Carrarese that they're there to fight till the end.
Yes, and another scontro diretto was Südtirol Sampdoria, finishing in a 2-1 victory against Südtirol, or for Südtirol. And Sampdoria came in with 2 straight wins. They were tied, and then a late goal from Südtirol gave them the victory, which Elia, you predicted was correct in that.
How about that? No, I just didn't know how. I wasn't very convinced by the most recent performances of Sampdoria. Yeah, they were wins, but I don't know how they achieved those results. And Südtirol at home, I know that it's a very difficult opponent, which is the next opponent of Spezia away, because after Catanzaro, the Eagles will go to Bolzano. So we'll see.
Yep, we'll see. Sassuolo, comfortable victory, 2-0. I get another prediction correct for that. Probably the easiest prediction of the list.
Right.
Sassuolo really walking their way to Serie A.
I was hoping that Brescia could do something about it, but yeah, it didn't happen.
Yep. Bari, Cremonese. You were close to 0 points because Cremonese was winning until like the 90th minute, and then Bari get a late equalizer to get another point. It's once again another inconsistency for Cremonese, given how much we're expecting from them. Still,
I think I scored all my points in the previous round, so that's why I did so well in the previous one. But then I got better then.
Yeah. So Palermo, Mantova, both teams had the lead in this, but it finished 2-2. Both of us get 0 points. Really did not expect that result. Frosinone getting a point at the end in stoppage time. Will that be enough for them? I don't know, because they are really in desperate need of a win. But that late draw did give me 1 point for that.
I almost had that one, though. Huh? How about that?
Yeah. This was another one where it came down to the wire, but One goal caused a point for me. Juve Stabia Cosenza. Juve Stabia dismantling Cosenza 3-0. And yes, you get an easy point for that.
Yeah, I wanted to say, but this was an easy one. I don't remember. We should go back and check the episode. Why did you get to the X on this one? I mean, Juve Stabia is it's just too much for Cosenza right now, I would say.
I had faith in the Wolves, as Antonio Palopoli says, il lupo non muore mai, and I thought the win against Carrarese last week would probably start a thing. Cosenza has made themselves a prominent figure in Serie B for kind of waking up towards the late part of the season, and they've always been in this position towards the bottom of the relegation zone in February, and then they start pulling wins together, start pulling draws together, which ultimately leads them to survive relegation. So, but it didn't happen this Juve Stabia getting the win.
Yeah, I wish them well, but it was a difficult opponent in Castellammare di Stabia. So, go ahead.
Yep. And final game, Cesena Pisa 1-1. Like we've discussed, Pisa playing up a man for the entire of the second half, but unable to see out the win as a draw happens, which gives you another point, which leads us to the final score of
4-4.
Tied.
How about that? So I maintained the lead. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and you're the first.
It was a comeback. Mine was a comeback. You see, I scored all my points in the last 2 games. Anyway, I must say, and it's not really the case, but everything changed for Cesena once that Simone Bastoni and Mirko Antonucci got on the pitch.
Wow.
No, it's not that everything changed, but they did score after those 2 players entered the pitch, because they got substituted towards the last quarter of the game, so in the second half of the second half. And it was good, because they were. You could tell that Cesena never stopped believing that they could do it. They were just lucid. Even one man down, they were lucid. They were playing their soccer, maintaining possession, and they hit. So actually, I think they also scored before, but the goal got...
that is true. They were actually... I forgot to mention that. But yes, apparently they did get 2 goals, I believe. It was disallowed. I'm going to check real quick. I know they had 1 goal disallowed. Yes, they had a goal disallowed in the first half.
Sorry, say that again, Jake.
In the first half, they had a goal disallowed by VAR.
Yeah. See, I've been paying attention. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Leonardo Pisani said, Antonucci deve andare a fare il PR in discoteca. It has to go to work in a disco. Leo, let us know what you think are your predictions of the upcoming round, which is what we are about to do next. I just wanted to highlight that we're getting better with our average, Jake. Beside of the total result, 3.85, 3.81, scoring 4 points per round, we are improving round after round. Now, let's talk about the prediction for the upcoming round, which is round 27, not 26. Elia, come on, don't drop the ball now. We're almost there. All right. So, Sampdoria, Sassuolo. What do you think? And what do you think, Leo? Let us know. Okay, dai, perfect. He's ready. So, Sampdoria, Sassuolo. Jake.
Sure, I'll go. It's a Friday night kickoff. It's, the Marazzi is always a tough place to team, but I would be really foolish to bet against Sassuolo just because they are just a machine at this point, and it doesn't seem like they're slowing down. And who knows, they might break the Serie B record, or if there is any. I have to go check, but I think they're just going to be too much for Sampdoria in this. I think it will be tight, but I'll go for like a 2-1 victory. So I'll put a 2 here.
Okay, it's a 2 for you. It is a 1 according to Leonardo Pisani. Thank you, Leo. And I'll be the middle ground. I'm going to put an X myself, just because I want to hope. They drew a lot under the leadership of Leonardo Semplici. So I hope that at least they can somewhat stop this Sassuolo and sort of regain their own momentum at home, at least. Cittadella, Modena. Man, I'm gonna start. So I didn't see Modena being... Si deve salvare alla fine, deve fare dei punti. So that's what Leonardo says. That Sam needs to avoid relegation, so they need to score some points. That's why he predicted a 1. I don't think they're gonna be able to score many points with Sassuolo. But absolutely, thank you, Leo. That's a good theory. We'll see. And Sassuolo, somebody always gets some help sooner or later, so we'll see. Anyhow, talking about Cittadella Modena. Modena didn't impress me. So how is Cittadella performing at home? I know that you were able to find a victory a few rounds ago. How did you do after that?
Yeah, so I think they're still struggling at home. Currently statistically the worst team at home with only 11 points, 2 wins, 5
Cittadella,
draws. Yes, and 5
the
losses.
worst team at home.
Statistically, yes, and but in contrast, Modena is one of the worst teams away. They only have one win in 13 road games this year, and just looking at Modena's form, it's a lot of it's not many wins, but it's a lot of draws, and they've proven very difficult to beat. I mean, they drew against Spezia, they beat Pisa, remember, in December, and yeah. So this is
I didn't remember that. Thank you. Thank you for
tough.
reminding us that. Which gives, it puts the draw in Modena under a different light now, reminding us that they beat Pisa. So since Cittadella is doing what they're doing at home and Modena is doing what they're doing away, I'm gonna go with convincing, solid, safe X for me. And then before letting you make your prediction, I'm gonna show Leonardo Pisani's prediction says, sorry for our friend Jake, but Modena, it's a solid team. It is solid, but it didn't impress me much. So he says X2. Non facciamo le doppie, Leo. You got only one answer to pick. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, an important factor, I forgot to mention this, is Antonio Palumbo, who has scored 7 goals and 9 assists for Modena this season. He will be missing the game because he did get a red card.
The Modena itself as a team did not impress me, but Palumbo is a good player. Like he could really make, it was awesome to see on the pitch.
So he will be missing the game. It's just I've seen too many games between Cittadella and Modena to know that this really has a draw written all over it. And Modena is also one of those teams where Cittadella hasn't been at home in a long time. I think since 2011. So this has a draw, an X for me.
All right, so we agree on our prediction, and Leo says, okay, so no doubles, and he goes for a 2. So he sees Modena winning on this one. Thank you, Leo. Thank you very much. So we'll continue on with the next prediction, which is Mantova-Bari. Jake, you're up.
Mantova-Bari. Mantova, let's see where they are at right now. I believe they're in 15th. Yeah, so they're in
15th place with 29 points together with Brescia and Reggiana. 1 draw, 2 losses, actually 2 draws, 2 losses, and 1 win in the 5 most recent game.
Yeah, Modena they can't really get a win, or they're playing.
Sorry, Mantova. Modena, we predicted it earlier with Cittadella.
They have their way of playing. They're going to possess the ball. They're going to make mistakes in the back, and it just seems like they're really committed to their playing style, and caused problems for Cittadella because they lost to them both times on both occasions. It's just Bari. They're another team where they love a draw, and I'm gonna predict an X for this because I don't know how this is gonna go. I really don't.
Yeah, I was looking at how Bari is performing, drawing with Cremonese, they lost with Juve Stabia. So they are in the playoff spots, but not so convincingly. So to predict a away win with Mantova, who is a newly promoted team, but proved, especially in the first half of the championship, to be solid and convincing. 29 points. What is the score of Mantova at home? Do they perform better at home or away?
Mantova, well, they were good at the start of the season at home, but their form has kind of dipped. They're kind of average, I'd say 5, 4, and 3 at home.
Okay. I'm sorry for the sake of our game. I agree with you. I don't see Bari winning away, and Mantova needs point at this point of the championship. So it's an X for me. Let's see what Leo did. Difficult bet, difficult prediction. He says 2. So he sees Bari winning away in Mantova. So, all right, we'll see. Reggiana Carrarese. Oh, ma! These are two of the most historic rivalry between Spezia and these two teams. I think Reggiana is in much better shape than Carrarese, although Carrarese winning the most recent game with Salernitana might actually relaunch themselves. They are in 11th place with 30 points, and they come out of 4 consecutive losses and 1 win in the 5 most recent games, while Reggiana is behind them in the 14th place with 29 points. So 1 point separates the two. They come with a very Reggiana, I think, drew with Frosinone, correct me if I'm wrong, which was a point that did not satisfy the fans at all. I was listening to an interview, and this is a difficult game.
This is like back to as well as Mantova Bari. Like, I have no idea.
I'm gonna predict a 1 just because Reggiana is playing at home, and I think that player to player individually, the individualities of the team, of the squad, are probably slightly better than the Carrareses. We'll see. In the meantime, before yours, so we'll go through. Leonardo says X. It's an X for him on this one, so this might help you to influence you.
I'm going to have to agree with him. I see an X. I was already thinking of that before you put your prediction down. Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen in this game.
These
could really go either way.
I agree. Pisa, Juve Stabia. This is a hot potato, as we say in Italian. It's a patata bollente to predict.
Yeah, because Juve Stabia is just they're really proving all the doubters wrong. They're just another solid team, just performing really above anyone's expectations. And
they're like the Catanzaro of last season.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, just getting up from Serie C and kind of pushing beyond what everyone thought was going to happen. Pisa, this is an important game for them because right after this, like we said, they have 2 away trips to Sassuolo and Spezia. So they are on the back of a loss against Cittadella and a draw against Cesena. So if they do not win this, they'll go into those 2 crunching matches, 3 games without win. So this is no doubt a huge game for people Inzaghi's men. And if they really want to go into those next 2 games with a really a strong base and a really how would I say, really a lot of confidence, they have to win this game.
And, who won in Pisa until now?
Cittadella. Cittadella's
nice.
Cittadella's the only team to beat Pisa in Pisa this season, which is quite a remarkable feat. Juve Stabia, if we're reminded that they were the first team to beat Pisa this season, ending their streak in Castelmare di Stabia. So this is going to be a hard game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I see just it's either going to be a draw or a Pisa slight victory, maybe 1-0 victory, and that's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict a 1 for this. Pisa just narrowly beating Juve Stabia.
All right, I have my prediction in mind, but let's see what Leonardo says. I must predict 2. Come on, Stabia, give us joy. Indeed. Now, maybe because we are emotionally involved, but drawing with Cesena with 1 more player, and that is a draw after a loss for Pisa, they might have lost momentum. Now they must, maybe they might have lost momentum. They might start to doubt, not themselves, but, that things might not go as smoothly all the time as they would like them to be. So I am actually, in light of Juve Stabia form. 3 wins and 2 losses in the last 5 games. They don't draw much, but the fact that they are 6th place, 39 points together with Catanzaro. So should Catanzaro draw or lose, Juve Stabia is going to climb up and reach the 5th place. So it is a very important game for the playoff spots. I'm going to predict a 2, and I agree with absolutely. I agree with Leonardo. It is like a now or never moment for Juve Stabia, which I think mentally is in better shape. They have, Pisa might start a bit tense. They play at home. They got stuff to lose. Spezia at home is really strong, so I think they're gonna be tense. And I hope that Juve Stabia can win this one and do us a big favor. Next game is Cremonese Cesena. Cremonese is always very difficult to predict because it's sort of like Palermo. They have ups and downs. In the last 5 games, they won 2, they drew 2, they lost 1, and they are facing Cesena that just proved that they're still fighting for a potential spot in the playoffs positions, drawing with Pisa 1 man down. So it's going to be, it's becoming very, very difficult to predict these games. How is Cremonese doing at home?
Cremonese, well, we know they've been inconsistent as of late. And at home, I don't think they're at a position where you want to be if you're chasing for promotion. They're currently the 10th best team at home with 5 wins, 5 draws, and 3 losses. 20 points.
So in light of this, I'm going to predict an X. I don't think they're going to be able to win so easily with Cesena, that demonstrate to be a really tough opponent, even in the second half of the season. You remember that I was predicting that they're going to slow down because they're very physical. This is a newly promoted team. They're going to be scoring most of their points in the first half. Instead, they're still a tough cookie. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to predict a 1 just because just of Cesena on the road is not always the best, even though they have beaten Sampdoria. They've beaten Reggiana as of late on the road. I just think Cremonese will bounce back from that disappointing draw in Bari and get the win.
All right, so it's a 1 for you, and Leonardo agrees with you. He said 1 because they must win, and Cesena has the relegation spot away. I don't know what it means by relegation spot away. They play with a team
that on the road. Cesena is towards the relegation.
I see. Okay, thank you, Leo. Thank you. I didn't get it. Okay, got it. So if we were just taking those into account, got it. Up next, and it's yours to predict first, Spezia Catanzaro. Oh, ma!
Yeah, this is another, so they're going to be playing on Sunday, so they'll know the result of Pisa. This is another opportunity. Like we said, playing at this level, I think you're going to definitely see this towards this part of the season where, I think both teams, both Pisa and Spezia, are going to be dropping points when you don't think they're going to, when you don't think it's possible. I think it's just because just the playing of the pressure of playing at the top of the table, playing for a chance of Serie A. I know these are professionals, but they feel it. Yeah, they totally do. Both Spezia and Pisa players are going to feel it, and I think it's just going to be a matter of who can keep their composure and who could really get the results when they need it. Spezia, I don't know. It's they're kind of worrying me a little bit because they've drawn games. They're drawing a lot of games. They're not losing, which I think is good. But the draw against Mantova on Boxing Day, they drew against Juve Stabia where they were winning for large, and then the Palermo, even though they did come back and drew that game, that was maybe a missed opportunity, and another missed opportunity in Modena. So I don't know. Catanzaro, they're just, like I've warned you, that they've only lost 3 times this season, and they're just a really tough, like you said, tough cookie to break. So I'm going to say another draw for this. I'm going to predict an X.
I agree with your congetture. How do you call it, congetture in English, Jake?
Conscious, I think, or a reasoning.
All your thought process, basically. So it is a difficult game. I really want, of course, Spezia to win. Conjectures. I don't know. Conjectures, I think. But anyhow, I really want Spezia to win. But in light of the 4 points that we lost in the two most recent games, I'm afraid that our guys are going to start to feel the pressure, and all the push from the Alberto Pico, instead of pumping them up, might make them, for the same token that I said that Pisa might start feeling it. I agree with your thought process. As I said, Spezia might start to feel it as well. Catanzaro is going to play like they got nothing to lose, because they, if they can take even just a draw away, or interrupt the record of undefeated result in the Alberto Pico, they would love to do that. So I hope we can win, but if I take my emotion out of it, I would predict an X. So it's an X for me on this one as well. So here we go. Let's see what Leo thinks about it. 1, because we are strong and mentally better. That's it. I like it. Thank you, Leo. So I'm giving you the bell, man. You see, this is the enthusiasm in our piazza. We are ready and pumped, and we believe. Sorry, I have to detach as much as possible, not to be more professional, because I am a fan and I'm not a journalist. But, if I have to take my heart aside from this prediction, that's what I would say. Of course, I do hope we win and that Pisa loses, so that we can climb up much closer. Brescia su Tirol. How can you predict these games? Why did we decide to make predictions?
Tough one.
Brescia is currently sitting in 13th place with 29 points, 2 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. Su Tirol slightly under them, with only 1 point to separate the two, is in 17th place with 28 points, 3 wins and 2 losses. I'm just going to predict a 2, which is a bold result, a bold decision, just because I hope that then Su Tirol in the home game with Spezia is going to be pago, is not going to be in need of scoring further points, and Brescia is not in any particular shape. So this is the occasion for Su Tirol to get out of an uncomfortable position in the second half of the table. What do you think?
Su Tirol has been very good since the start of since 2025 started. Like I've been saying, they've really kind of turned a corner. They made some signings in the winter market, beating Sampdoria. Then the last 2 games, they had Frosinone winning, Reggiana winning. Put up a good fight against Cremonese, put up a good fight against Sassuolo. So they're definitely on the upper trend, and I think that's going to continue. So I'm also going to predict a 2 for this game.
All right. I thought I was too bold, but I'm glad we agree, although it's not the best. When we agree, it's not the best for the sake of our game, but who cares? And Leonardo said, Jake, I'm sorry to get a Leo on fire.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I like you when you ring the bell.
All right, so the next game is Cosenza Palermo.
Palermo, it's
Leo, what's your prediction though on this game? Because we predicted it and we didn't see yours, since you're doing them all. Brescia su Tirol, what are your thoughts, Leo? Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Palermo, it's just they're so I don't know what to do, because they're drawing games and they're losing games, and then all of a sudden they could win. They could go on a winning streak. It's just really turned out to be a very disappointing season for them. They are still only 2 points away from the playoff spots, but you've got to think, if they do even make the playoffs, it's probably not going to be they're not going to make it very far. They're playing against a Cosenza side who just got thrashed in Castelmare di Stabia. However, they are playing at home. Always difficult to play in Cosenza, but given their recent form, I don't know. I'm going to predict a draw for this, because I don't see anything really.
All right, so it's an X for you, while for Leo, the previous game, the Brescia su Tirol is a 1.
I was
Go
already
ahead, Jake.
kind of thinking. I think I'm going to change my prediction from Brescia to Tirol. I'm actually going to predict a draw.
All
Also
right.
to disagree, but also to I don't know. Like in my mind, I don't think I could see Tirol winning, but I can't see them losing. So I think it'll be a draw.
Not even Spezia won in Did we win in Brescia? No, we draw 1-1, I guess. Yeah, I was actually there. So it is a difficult game. It is a difficult field. No, è un campo difficile. So, all right. So for you, it's a Brescia su Tirol. 2 for me, X for you, and it's a 1 for Leonardo. Then, as far as Cosenza Palermo, it's an X for you. Cosenza Palermo, I do hope that the Wolves do not continue on losing, but they're really in a bad shape. They don't have a good squad. The Piazza is really fed up with the ownership and with the coach as well now. I'm sorry. They're in the worst position ever. I wish them well. I support the Wolves as much as possible, but I think Palermo is going to win with Cosenza. So it's a 2 for me. I'm sorry.
Sad to see the Cosenza like this, but they've had some really difficult years, saving themselves kind of like on the last day, and just they're really fed up. The fan base is really fed up with the ownership. But let's see what happens. As I keep repeating, Il lupo non muore
Yeah,
mai.
me too. It's unpredictable. Leonardo agrees with the 2, and he says Alvini a casa, which is one of the reasons why I would want Cosenza to do well, because I feel for Alvini. Salernitana Frosinone, guys, this is like the last possibility for Frosinone, and Salernitana can get out of that situation. 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw in the 5 most recent game. Frosinone drawing with Reggiana, so this is the 3rd draw in 5 games. The other 2 were losses in the 5 most recent games. 2 consecutive draws from Frosinone, but they're just teams that are struggling, no matter where they're playing, at home or away. Frosinone and Salernitana are struggling. Both teams recently, newly, relegated from the Serie A. So we did not imagine to see them struggle as much, at least. Salernitana Frosinone, just because I wouldn't be able to pick a better team between the 2, or one that is in better shape in the current moment, and I don't see Salernitana losing at home. It's an X for me on this one. I have no idea. Jake.
I know this is the late Sunday night game. I know I've already predicted a lot of X's, and I know I haven't really picked a lot of 2s or 1s, but you could kind of sense. Do you sense that, Ilya? It's a biscotto.
Let's not hurt each other too much.
It's a biscotto. This could be a biscotto match. I'm going to predict a draw. I think it's just because both teams can't really get a win. Like they're just they won't have enough to win. And I think a draw, even though I say it's a biscotto, I don't think the draw is going to help either team, because this is a
absolutely
relegation 6-pointer, and both teams need a win like right now. But I think just either side can't get over the line, and it's going to end in a draw.
I agree, and Leonardo agrees with us as well, and he likes your joke. So, all right. First of all, thank you, Leo, for participating actively to today's predictions of ours, and to find out how well we did, since we are improving week by week. Look at our average increasing so sharply. Not really. But it is a difficult thing to do, to predict the Serie B league. We do invite you to follow us on all our platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth and so on. All the links are in the description, and we will be live next Wednesday. And Jake?
Yes, you could follow us or Cheat Calcio USA on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Cheat Calcio USA, and cheatcalciousa.com for news, articles, information. And let's see what happens. Spezia hosting Catanzaro, Cittadella hosting Modena, as well as plenty of other games this upcoming weekend. Match day 27, I believe it is. Yes, 27, match day 27. Ciao ragazzi, a presto. Thank you, Leonardo, for participating in this chat, and we will see you next Wednesday, same time as always. We will be speaking Serie B.